Come on, my friends, I am very happy to tell you that it's the season premiere of Ups and Downs. Even though there was an Ups and Downs yesterday, and there was an Ups and Downs on Tuesday, there'll probably be an Ups and Downs tomorrow, an Ups and Downs Monday, an Ups and Downs on Truntag, which is not a day, I just made it up. I don't really I understand why WWE does it, because it ties into the TV, well, season, but it's still very weird, given that we're getting WWE programs pretty much every single second of every single day. But who even cares about that, because this episode of SmackDown made me feel all peaches and cream in my tum-tum. I mean, WWE World Wrestling Federation, World Wrestling Entertainment, did a really good job, so let's take this, the Finger of Power, which is kind of like Roman Reigns' tribal chief. Don't mess with him, he'll do bad stuff, and let's up those downs for SmackDown. Well, despite everything I just said, what an odd start to SmackDown it was, because Triple H and Stephanie McMahon were just in the ring, and while Triple H was announced as the COO of WWE, so you knew, if you don't watch the program, all of a sudden two random individuals were just here. And I know that was true because I had my friend who only got into watching wrestling over lockdown texting me going, I don't know who these jabrones are, can I please have some context? The strangeness continued though, because as it was the season premiere of SmackDown, they decided to just announce a bunch of wrestlers like this was a school register. So they were like, hey, look, it's Kevin Owens. And Kevin Owens came out dancing. Like, oh, it's Aleister Black. And he came out jigging down. It was really awkward. We did welcome back Bryan though. And that guy, he's just the best human being ever. Like, as soon as I saw his happy, smiley face, I started being all happy and smiling too. He is just the best babyface ever. Everyone then started brawling because of course they did. I mean, in what world did WWE think it was a good idea to have good guys and bad guys stood so close to one another, especially as some of them are in feuds? And this all stopped when they were interrupted by Lars Sullivan, who came out and just murdered everyone. Now here is the problem with this situation. As soon as I heard his entrance music, I instinctively went, oh, great, oh man. And I don't think I've ever done that before. So this is going to be a tough sell by the powers that be and those that are in charge. I just don't get the guy, and I just don't want to see him. So for that very reason, is a down. And something else that I'm not into is Michael Cole calling Lars Sullivan the Freak every 23 milliseconds, and I am not exaggerating. He went into a match with Jeff Hardy here, and Michael Cole couldn't help himself. He's like, oh, there's the Freak. Oh my gosh, it's the Freak. Freaky dink dink, freaky frank frank, freaky freaky frog frog frog. It was just way too much. If you just want to call him the Freak, call him the Freak. Get rid of the Lars, oh, eat it. Get rid of the Sullivan, boom, kick it over there. You get rid of everybody else's name. This was so extreme. My brain actually sent messages to me saying, Simon, I don't know what you're doing, but turn it off, because I'm getting really frustrated. What was this? Just for evidence too, in a, 4.5 minute match against Jeff Hardy, the word freak was said 27 times. I think that's a little bit much. Corey Graves at one point also said, look at the girth of his wrists. So this really is going to be a challenge. And of course, poor Jeff Hardy got mullered by Lars Sullivan. So I'm gonna strap myself in and I'm gonna prepare myself for some rocky roads. It's a down. What was nice is that beforehand and afterwards, we saw Jeff Jarrett in the crowd because he was part of the Thunderdome audience on his LED box. And we did this with other legends throughout the night, like I think we saw Ric Flair, and we saw Goldberg, and we saw Keith Lee. I don't know why we didn't do this sooner. SmackDown then, however, got beautiful. Up. Using this episode to have some last appearances on Friday nights by guys that are now on Raw, we had the official fare thee well goodbye of the New Day, and it was just lovely. I mean, wasn't it nice? WWE gave them time to talk before their match, and Kofi Kingston said how great this was, and Xavier Woods said, these guys are my brothers, and Big E were like, I'm never gonna forget you, I love you so much. And I was sat there on my sofa being like, man, you know what, I don't care, the tears, they were flowing. I love these three. I love them with every single ounce of my being. It was just so real, it was just so emotional, it was just so genuine, and I don't know how anybody couldn't have been invested in this, because again, it was just radiating realness. And also, amidst other rumours that maybe some comedy characters are going to be turned into serious characters, here we had three guys who were basically massive goofs, and oh, can you believe it? Here, they were being really serious. So this was excellent, it was just excellent, and thank you, New Day, for always being awesome. When you had that little trombone too. We then had the New Day taking on Shinsuke Nakamura, Cesaro, and Sheamus, and yeah, it was just nice, it was just fine, it was just some good professional wrestling on my professional wrestling entertainment box. Also known as a TV. Getting up. It was also hilarious because in between the New Day talking and us getting this match, Sheamus, Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro treated this like it was the dumbest thing ever. I mean, they acted like 1980s villains. Sheamus even said at one point, I'm going to enjoy kicking the arse of those hip swiveling Muppets. You are great, Sheamus, and I still think you are vastly underrated. The New Day were also humping the ropes as Shinsuke Nakamura's entrance music played, and I think you are utterly crazy if you didn't enjoy this, because flub me, it was fun. And outside of that, I don't have much to tell you. I mean, Big E and Xavier Woods hit the midnight hour on Sheamus. They got the 1, 2, 3, so in their last match, they got the big victory, and that's how it should have gone. Also, we need to shout out Corey Graves is here as well, because as soon as the referee did go 1, 2, 3, he didn't go, man, Big E, Xavier Woods, Kofi Kingston, man, you've done so much. He went, well, I just want to send my best wishes to Sheamus, because of course now he is headed to Raw. All of this worked perfectly. It was also another reminder that when WWE does double down on story and they do double down on motion, they know exactly what they're doing. So come on, man. Give me more of this in my face. I also think we're now going to do a feud between Sami Zayn and Otis. It began earlier on when Stephanie McMahon was doing all of those intros and said to Sami Zayn he needs to be wary of Mr. Money in the Bank. And here, just as he was about to be interviewed, Sami Zayn turned up and went, look man, you are nothing but a sack of potatoes, because 1, you've now lost your best friend to Raw. 2, you also lost your girlfriend to Raw. 3, you're going to lose this upcoming lawsuit with The Miz. So ultimately, you're a massive loser. All of this made Otis so mad, he just went, burp, and he pushed Sami Zayn on the floor. And that made me chuckle, because imagine you did that in real life. And I actually think this is kind of good. Like, Otis doesn't need to be any better than he is, but if you are going to throw him up the ladder, do you know who's going to help? That's right, it's the underdog from the underground, whatever the hell he's called. I am going to plug myself in and get ready for this. Then Daniel Bryan was back officially, and I don't even care. You can call me a fanboy, you can call me a Bryan buddy, you can call me a Daniel Duck, which doesn't even make any sense. As soon as he was on screen, my whole world was just a little bit brighter. Up. We saw Brie Bella on one of the screens, much like Jeff Jarrett had been earlier, and one of the first things Daniel did was say, hey man, I had a really good time at home. Hey mom, hey daughters. How can you not just love this man? He is the ultimate good guy. He radiates awesomeness, and he makes me feel like I should be a better person too. So I would give DB all the money from my wallet, and before he did anything, he ensured to put over the likes of the Street Profits, Kevin Owens, Bianca Belair, the Riot Squad. Anybody that could come into his brain that he wanted to give a shout out to, he did. Daniel Bryan is like wrestling Santa Claus, but he comes more than once a year. I then got very excited, because I remembered that the new Xbox and PlayStation were out later this year, but also because Seth Rollins' music hit. And that guy, he is such a shallow Mother Hubbard, he marched right into Daniel Bryan's face and said, look, you just mentioned all these wrestlers, but I don't think you mentioned Seth Rollins. You need to decide which side of history you want to be on, Daniel. And then Bryan responded by that and saying, Seth, that is such a dumb thing to say, it doesn't even make any sense. Like a child who had just said they wanted to create a car that ran on happiness, Seth Rollins kind of sheepishly looked to the floor like, it's not dumb, Daniel, it's really important and you should know this. And Daniel Bryan then came up with a comparison, because it is dumb, and it's about as dumb as somebody wearing a sports coat and then being naked underneath. Guess what Seth Rollins was wearing? This was 10 out of 10. Seth then lost it and hit Daniel Bryan with a microphone, although he was able to mount somewhat of a comeback, and then Rollins decided he was going to bail because, of course, the Mysterios arrived and blocked him into a corner. Daniel Bryan was then like, you know what, I don't need to worry about this anymore, and he left before Murphy ran down the aisle, and I was screaming, but whose side is he on? Bobby the Brain Heathen. Well, he's on his own side because he then thumped Seth Rollins right in the face, and that was that. But we then continued on this story because he looked at Rey Mysterio and he looked at Dominic and he extended his hand and he wanted a handshake. And I was like, look, dude, even if you are about to become a better person, they ain't gonna shake your hand. You tried to take out their eye. Father and son then looked at him like he was an alien, and you would do because that was just a cuckoo thing to even think, as the narrative now tells you, well, can we trust Buddy Murphy or can we not? I mean, he did lose his first name. This is just WWE at its best. And I do understand the criticism that maybe this story has gone on a little long, but it's just ticking all the boxes. The bad guy keeps getting his. You're always guessing with all the twists and turns. There's a crappy love story that we can forget about, but whatever. I enjoyed it all. WWE then returned to normal because we got a stupid match with a stupid finish. Can't have everything. Down. It was the Street Profits taking on Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler, and I also think this was for the tag team titles. How does that make any sense after Rudolph had lost on Raw? And even if this wasn't for the titles, they shouldn't even be in this scenario to begin with. Like, was I able to go back to the Bald Championships the second year after I finished in last place? No, I wasn't. I need to work on being more bald first. It also ended in a DQ. I mean, gee. And the referee just decided at one point, well, I think Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler had beaten up the Street Profits too much, so we threw the whole thing out. What a waste of life. And of course it ended with Montez Ford being in control so the champions and the good guys could stand tall. I mean, it would have been more productive if I had continued to have worked on my attempt to do a backflip. And here's some of that footage. Just terrible. Overall, this was a tremendous SmackDown though, because then we were back to our big guns and having a contract signing between Sasha Banks and Bayley. Getting it up. Now, the contract signing is a trope that WWE could drop forever, because I think we've done around about 1,073,000 of these, but when they work, they work. And Adam Pearce was here and hosting it, and he made sure he recollected everything that had happened between these two, which was really good to set the scene, but also to tell new viewers, hey, this is why you should care. To do this stuff more. Sasha was going to sign first, but of course before she did that, she needed to let you know where her head was at, so she got a microphone and she looked at Bayley and said, man, I am gonna flub you up so bad because I've been waiting for this for a damn long time. And then Bayley was like, ha, yeah, whatever, come on. If I hadn't turned on you, you so would have turned on me first. Don't come on here sitting on your pedestal. You, just like me, are an absolute piece of trash. Sasha was appalled by that idea and even said that it was her that came back for Bayley when she was on NXT after Banks had been called up to Raw. And also, if it wasn't for Sasha, there's no way Bayley would still be champion. In fact, she would have lost it ages ago. All the revenge will come courtesy of the Hell in a Cell. And then I think Sasha Banks signed, but Bayley didn't, but I may be getting that wrong. And again, yeah, was this anything special? No. Have we seen it 537 times before? Yes. But Bayley and Sasha just understand their roles and they understand their characters to such a high degree that it is so easy to invest in this. Also, WWE, you've got to make this the main event of the pay-per-view. Thanks. It was then time for our main event, which was Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman for the Universal Champion. And look, this was the first time the Universal title had ever been defended on SmackDown, so it was a big deal, even if it was a little bit dumb, that the opponent was a Raw superstar. However, I will say this, Corey Graves and Michael Cole acted very scared that, oh my gosh, if the monster among men does enter and leave victorious, we're not going to have a championship. And overall, it was pretty damn good. Goldberg and Keith Lee were also watching on the LED screen, so I'll make sure I ask my dad about that over breakfast. And backstage, we also had Jey Uso watching on because, of course, he has a lot to lose. Or maybe gain. I don't know, ask him. Reigns was awesome because as soon as the bell rang, he just ran at Braun Strowman and hit him with the Superman punch, which had so much impact that ironically it kind of sent Braun into the Phantom Zone. And even though Strowman would have these little comebacks where he just go, rah, like he does because he has anger management problems, the feeling I got by the end of this is that Roman was in control the whole damn time. even though he was fighting a giant. There was always going to be some protection for Braun because he's Braun, and Vince McMahon's like, Braun, I love you, you are so massive. So he was able to kick out of a low blow and a spear. But that shocked Roman Reigns so much. Do you know what he did? He got onto Braun Strowman's back and he choked him out using a guillotine. I flippin' love this. And sure, I get it, there's clearly some inspiration here, given that in New Japan and AEW, their top guys have been doing the same thing, but a good idea is a good idea, and when this is sold right, I just love a main eventer winning by choking someone out. I clearly had problems with my brain, but at least I admit it. We couldn't just end it there either, because of course we needed the next step between Roman and Jey Uso, so this is where he made his presence known, and all of a sudden, Reigns just speared Braun Strowman again as if to say to his cousin, you don't come down here, boy, I will whip your ass. But that was never going to happen. As he got closer though, Roman went and got a chair and just started to unleash on Braun to let Jey know, look, if I'm able to do this to him, what do you think I am going to do to you? But then he made the situation very clear. We can forget everything that has happened before. You need me at the head of the table so I can stop jabronis like this getting in our way. So what I need you to do now is I need you to take this weapon of death and I need you to beat up Braun Strowman too. I'm sorry, but this is just Star Wars, and Star Wars is brilliant. Throughout this, Roman also turned to Jey as he was attacking Braun, shouting, I don't want to do this to you as well. And he is just the greatest person ever. And I tell you, when Jey picked up this chair and he was genuinely confused and perturbed about what he should be doing, I was emotionally connected. And Roman was so disappointed that Jey didn't go after Braun, he just turned his back and he was like, fine. You want to be the man? You want to be the leader? Then you're gonna have to beat me up first. Jey couldn't do it because of course he's the good guy in this relationship. So when Roman turned around with a big smirk on his face, he decided, you know what? I'll prove my love for you, which he also shouted, and he slammed Roman Reigns right in the face. And I was like, Jey Uso, I want you to become Universal Champion. I mean it. If it wasn't for the incoming officials, he probably would have murdered Roman Reigns right there and then, because there was all this fracas, Reigns was able to take his hand and use his second favorite move, which is slamming people right in the dick. Jey Uso went down, Roman stood tall, and oh boy, you've gone and done it now. You've made a big mistake, because he said, well, that was your second chance, you flubbed up, now I'm gonna have to end you. And I'm genuinely worried at Hell in a Cell that Jey Uso may actually die. This was a tremendous closing angle. I am so involved in this, it is unreal. I never thought we would have done this. It is getting it up. Just to be a massive positive peak today as well, but it did make a huge difference. I don't know what WWE has done to the sound in the Thunderdome, but it sounded absolutely faboo here and made you enjoy the product even more. There was booing, there was cheering, there was yes chants when Daniel Bryan was on screen. Giving it an up, as does the show overall. Seriously, this is one of the best things that WWE has done in ages, and it baffles me why SmackDown can be so well connected and Raw is just the dumpster fire. Whatever, I'm not going to worry about that now. That's for Tuesdays. Today's is Saturdays. We're giving it a round of applause again. Now, don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you thought about last night's episode of Raw. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Head over to WhatCulture.com, read yourself some articles, follow WhatCulture on Twitter, WhatCulture's WWE, and watch more videos here on WhatCulture Wrestling, including yesterday's retro ups and downs. We going back to 2002 and the Survivor Series. My name is Simon from WhatCulture. Thank you as always for joining me. Have great weekends. I'll see you next week.